All right, what's happening, guys? Good morning. Good morning to you. It's Wednesday, November 18th, 2020. This morning, we're going to talk about what 2021 looks like for you. What does it look like for me? And how do we make the best of it between now and when 2021 starts? Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life. And then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, what's happening, guys? Good morning to you. Just getting this shared out real quick, and I'll be right with you. All right, so let's talk about this morning. We're going to talk about what 2021 looks like for you. What does 2021 look like for you? So based on how 2020 has gone, I think that, it is definitely worth saying that, taking what has happened in 2020 and building upon that, right? Taking the adversity, taking the lessons, taking all the things that come along with the potential challenges of 2020 and building on those for 2021, going into 2021 with a crystal clear vision is one of the most important things that any of us can do, right? It's having a plan, having a strategy. What does that look like? And how do we, going back to some of what we talked about yesterday and this week, is how do we establish that consistency and discipline that leads us from 2020 and again, just transitioning into a nice and smooth and productive 2021. And I've been thinking a lot about that because we've got some new stuff going on. So Top Contractor School, we've got the Inner Circle program, which is going to be 10 to 15 business owners that, really dig in a group and really, sets very specific goals and then create accountability to make that happen. So that program has been a blessing to me because thinking through the content for that program has really made me rethink 2021 for my own business, make sure that that's dialed in so that as a group, we can be the most effective in that Inner Circle program. So, when we think about 2021 and we think about the fact that the new year is just around the corner, right? It's basically 6 weeks away at this point. And, when you think about that, what are you doing today to prepare for that, right? It is that balance of finishing off 2020, making sure that you're investing time every day, if not every day, almost every day, chunks of time to figure out what 2021 looks like. And this just isn't from a business perspective, but what is it that you want to accomplish in 2021? For me, I was on a roll of, doing things one-on-one with my children, right? I had a plan for, taking my children on trips individually, just them and me. I did this with my daughter last year. I took her to New York City. And so that was on my list to accomplish this year in 2020. Obviously, travel restrictions and everything else that came along in 2020 kind of threw a wrench in that. But that's one of the things that I want to capitalize on in 2021. So it's not just business goals. It's what are you going to do in your personal life as well? For me, planning some trips with my wife. We've had children. Our oldest is 8, and so we've had pretty much a baby for the last 8 years, right? And so we're getting out of that stage, or we will be getting out of that stage, and so trying to transition into spending more one-on-one time with my wife, right, in 2021 is important to me. With that said, all the business goals go along with that too, right? If we're not winning in business, then the personal stuff gets a little bit more challenging to execute on as well. So just thinking about that. So, the first thing that I would tell you is, do you know what you want to change? Do you know from 2020 to 2021 what you want to change? And here's what I'll challenge you with. This isn't about changing results. It's first about figuring out what it is that you want to change, maybe from a results standpoint, but reverse engineering that to what behaviors do you want to change that are going to lead to that result. So many people, it's very easy to write a number down on a paper and say, this is what I want to do next year. I want to make more money. I want to drive more revenue. I want to have more customers. I want to, go on more dates with my wife. All of those things that I just listed, those require behaviors and habits to be changed in order to be able to execute on those things, right? So for me to be able to go on dates with my wife, I have to be more disciplined, more organized. I have to set that time aside. I have to figure out what day is going to work for that and stick to that, right? And I have to build my schedule around that. It doesn't matter whether it's personal or business. It's not about the end result. It's about the behaviors that it takes to be able to get there. And so think about that. When you're thinking about your 2021 goals, don't just think about the numbers or the income or the results that you want in your life, but what is it actually going to take? And then what are the threats to that? The threats to anything that you set a goal for personally is that, work sometimes tends to try to get in the way, right? There's what we think are urgent issues that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And sometimes those get us off of those personal goals. And that's not a good thing, right? I want to say good morning to some folks. Eli, good morning to you. Jared Bird, good morning, man. Mike Rosgoni, good to see you on here. Angela, great to see you here this morning. Carla, good morning to you. Excited to be going down to Texas to visit Carla here in a few weeks. That's going to be an exciting trip. I've never been that far down in Texas, and I'm very much looking forward to being there and meeting Carla and her team in person. That's a very, very, very cool thing to be able to meet people. I've met Carla in person, but not the rest of her team. So looking forward to that. Keith Calloway, my man, out on the West Coast up at 4:30 a.m. Appreciate you being here, man. David Martin, good morning to you. Lewis, good morning, brother. And Jonathan and Chris Filippelli, good morning to you guys. So the next thing, after you establish the list of what it is that you want to change in 2021, I want you to think about this. What are you going to do today that's going to get you closer to making that change already? What are you going to do today? So why is it that so many people fail on New Year's resolutions? They wait until January 1st to start something that they should have started weeks or months before that. And so when you think about that, it is your commitment to starting that's going to make the difference. So if you're trying to change something, if you know there's something on your list today, it is easiest to start to change that behavior immediately, right? And it could be small progress, it could be large progress, but either way, you start taking those baby steps. As Keith says all the time, just get 1% better every day. Just get a little bit better every day, and by January 1st, you will be in a position to be executing on those things instead of starting on those things. And the last thing that I have written down here is, what will you do in the off season? So between now and the end of the year, what are you going to do to make 2021 more successful for yourself and for those people around you? One of the things that we talked about on the Top Contractor Elite call yesterday was the power of consistency. And that ties into the New Year's resolution thing. The reason that New Year's resolutions don't work is that, you start them with no consistency, right? And so the first time you fail, you just kind of, put it in the category of, well, it's a New Year's resolution. It probably wasn't supposed to work anyway, so I just move on. When you start today and you start to implement some of those behaviors that actually affect change in your life, that will be effective for you. It will be something that you can start walking towards, right? And that's an important thing to recognize. It's the things that you do in the off season. It's the work, when we look at professional athletes, it's not the work that they do on the field that is recognized. That is the importance of how they perform. It's the work that they do in the when nobody's watching, right? It's the hours that they spend after practice that separate them from the rest of the pack. Those elite athletes, they put in the reps, they put in the additional work that it takes to be able to execute at that level that they do. And the same is true for life. If you see someone executing at a high level in life, if you followed them around, it would make sense because they're putting in the work. They're investing the time. They're reading the books. They're listening to the podcast. They're invested in themselves. They're invested in creating a brighter future. They're connected to the right people. They're doing all the things that create success. You know, one of my favorite quotes of all time is success leaves clues, right? So when you see someone who is successful, the easiest way to get further in life is to duplicate those behaviors that are already working for someone else. Because if they're working for someone else, they're going to work for you most likely. And if you just pay attention to that, you get the right people around you, you get the right mentors, you read the right books, you invest in the right programs to be part of, those things will accelerate your growth faster. You know, one of the things that is very, very cool, and we talked about this yesterday. I shared one of the memories that I had from 3 years ago, but now it's interesting because I've been putting out content for such a long period of time, but I'm able to go back and see all these memories, right? And I'm able to kind of go walk back through my thought process at a year ago or 2 years ago. And I can really remember those places that I was at, and I can see, you know, how far I've come, the growth that I've had as a result of being connected to the right people, investing in those things that are important, spending. It's not just money, it's time, right? I think about that all the time. Every time that, you know, I am ready to deliver a training or a coaching session or something like that, it is someone investing their precious time. It's not just money. It's their time that they're investing into becoming better. And so the pressure to deliver on that, you can always make more money. You can't go back and get, you know, 30 minutes or an hour back that you didn't feel was productive. And so, you know, it is important for you to understand that time that you invest is far more valuable than anything. And so choosing the right situations to be in. You know, I talked to somebody the other day that was telling me, you know, they're involved in so many different programs that they don't feel like they're effective in any of them. That is a bad thing too. So as you get into planning for 2021, if you've got too many things going on from a self-development standpoint, it can be not a good idea, because you're trying to execute on different things that don't necessarily all line up in the same direction. And so you have to be careful of that stuff. So think about that as you're going into 2021. You figure out what it is that you want to change. Figure out the best path for you to be able to make those changes. And then spend time every single day working on it. And it starts with organization, right? It starts with a morning routine. It starts with having some consistency in your life, some rhythm to what you do. And once you get that, man, it just works, right? You start to churn off a lot of wins in your life, and you chain those days together. And those daily wins turn into monthly wins, turn into wins in a year. And then the next thing you know, you look back and you're making massive, massive progress. So think about that, guys. Today, what does 2021 look like for you? And how can you start today, you know, changing your perspective of what it is that you're going to be doing in 2021? You know, visualizing those things, writing things down that you want to accomplish. I write my goals down every single day. And so today on my list is to formalize and finalize my goals for 2021, like detailed down to what it is that I need to be doing every single day, and what it's going to take from everybody on our team to be able to execute and deliver on those things in 2021. With that said, guys, I hope this was helpful this morning. That's all I got for this morning. I hope it was something that kind of changed your perspective, made you start looking ahead, right? It's a good thing this time of year to be shifting gears, to be, you know, finishing off 2021. You've already got your plan in place, hopefully, to do that. And then start to shift gears and think about what does 2021 actually look like? And what are you going to do? And what do you need to do between now and then that's going to make a difference to make 2021, the start of it, just a little bit easier? So I encourage you, whatever it is that you want to change in your life, you know, don't wait. You know, it doesn't have to be today. Like, you know, I'm going to go on a diet. So I'm going to start today, and I'm not prepared. I don't have any food. I haven't made any changes in the food that's in my house. That's very difficult and probably not going to be successful. But there's a lot of things that you can just decide you're going to change today. And so I encourage you to do that. Think about that. Make a list of the things that you want to change and get to work. That's it, guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective.